All right, so welcome to the Visual Resources Review Board for the Town of Farragut, May 2018 meeting. So the first item on our agenda tonight is the minutes from the last meeting. Any discussion on those minutes? If we have no discussion, do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion, do we have a second?
A second.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries to approve the minutes. So moving down to the ground-mounted sign applications, the first item on our agenda is Mortgage Investors Group, which looks like one we've talked about before, apparently.
Yes, sir, that's the case. What they're doing is they're asking for a modification from a previously approved tenant panel on an existing ground-mounted sign. You originally approved this version of their sign in March, and what they want to do is transition to that look for their sign. It's the same basic dimensions. They're adding a logo.
It looks better.
It looks better. It looks more
I do
professional.
too. It does look more
The rest of
professional.
yours anyway.
Huh.
Did you look? Looks like their other
It does.
options.
That's part of their corporate image too, so.
The other looked a little plain.
Compliant, it's legible, and staff has no problem with it.
It looks like it meets all the requirements. Any further discussion? Do we have a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
A motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I second.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next item is Tire Discounters ground-mounted sign at the former Exxon station site.
Okay, this application is for a 36 square foot ground-mounted sign for the tire discounters. I think you looked at the landscaping plan for this facility at your last meeting. They are requesting a changeable copy sign, which under the town's current regulations are facilities and gas stations when it's price only. So this not being one of those type of facilities, it's not a permitted sign. And staff recommends that the proposed changeable copy sign be denied and the sign redesigned to remove the changeable copy elements. There would be some other problems in terms of the height of the address numbers, and also the fact that we lack a landscaping plan for it, but there was no reason for them to work on that until the changeable copy aspect was dealt with. They were aware of the issues, and they may appeal it to the Board of Zoning Appeals, but that's not an issue for y'all. It's just a matter of this application having to go first.
I mean, at this point, the regulations are pretty clear about who can have a changeable copy sign. I don't
Yes,
know that
sir.
we have much choice in the matter, but to follow that regulation.
One side issue on this, and it doesn't relate to your action on this, but we did want to get some input from you on the color of the red. I think I included in your
did.
packet an email I got, and they are very close to one of your adopted colors in the architectural standards for the town. But we at least wanted to have you take a look at that and make sure that you were okay with the color red that they were proposing to use. We have approved their wall-mounted signs, subject to the color issue being dealt with, so.
Red's one of those colors that really kind of fades over time too, so if it's just a tinge off from what we have, I don't think it's gonna be that big of a deal.
What was the color but whoever, I can't find it right off, but.
On the
what
color sheet, it was
Thank you.
it's the bottom red in the
It's 5,
second
okay.
column.
Yeah, I knew what, but I knew,
It's this.
that one very
This is
bottom.
this is our.
And
These
she
are your
says that
adopted
hers is-
colors, and it's very close to that bottom red in the second column.
That's the thing. It's so hard to tell from a printout that I've made to a printout over
Right, so
there.
we can't, I mean,
But if it's close.
if it's close, is that not your judge? I mean, what do you,
Is that their traditional color?
Yes,
red?
it is. It is. And so they were asking to stay with the color that they typically use as opposed to fully modifying because the two colors were so close.
And-
Are they modifying the color of the building?
No, just the red lettering in their tire discounter sign.
I say leave it to what's their standard.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
Leave it to what their
Yeah.
standard is. That's
Yeah.
kind of like their logo. I mean, it's close
So
enough
is it
to ours.
close enough? Have you seen it, because we've had some issues with some others that the colors and then
Close to that, you saw
they
that.
weren't close to
I
that.
mean, we're in
Well,
the same
using
position
my
that you
same
are in
printer.
terms of looking at the color they're proposing, have in
Mine doesn't
in
look any
architectural
weird, 'cause
standards.
that's
But
my
they did
printer.
have
If you
their
use your
color
printer,
people
it
look
does.
at it
It
and run the
looks very
numbers,
close.
and it was
It's
very
big.
close.
Okay.
So if,
And on their building, on the peaked roof, on the one corner will be the same color red, so it,
oh,
So it'll all flow.
so it will flow and it will not be like that red turns into an orange or, is there one
but that's a
around
separate
here?
issue from what you have to take action on.
So the
with
first
regard
thing,
to the
the first thing
changeable
we have to
copy.
do is
Deny the other.
vote on the sign itself,
Yes, sir.
and then we can give a recommendation on our thoughts of the color, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
that'd be appropriate.
Well, the sign itself doesn't meet the regulation that's enacted,
Right.
and I don't know that we have much choice but to follow the regulation that's been enacted. Is there any further discussion on that? All right, with that, do we have a motion?
Make a motion to deny?
All right, we have a motion to deny. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor of that, say aye. Opposed? All right, so secondarily to that, we're asked to make a recommendation on the color red in the sign as compared to our color palette. So there's a slight difference, but I know I printed off from my printer both the sign and the color palette, which does not look like what we have on the screen, but based upon what I printed, the color red in our palette versus the color
Matches
red they're
theirs.
using are very close. So I personally don't have any issue with them using their own color. It's going to match. Do we need to take a vote on that just to make it more formal, or?
Yeah, you can if you want to.
Okay, so as far as using the color red that's in their corporate screen, is there any further discussion on that, or are we ready to have a motion?
Well, I think since it's their standard color, we should approve it.
Okay,
I second that.
all right, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, so the next item on the agenda is the pole sign request for tire discounters. Again, apparently from looking at our regulations compared to what's being requested, does not comply.
And that is staff's recommendation that it be denied as a non-compliant sign. It's again a situation where the interstate pole signs are only allowed for establishments that cater to interstate travelers and also provide gas, food, or lodging. And this doesn't fall into one of those use categories.
Well, would it not with them if you had a flat tire or if you had a
No,
blowout?
It's very specific, though, for gas, food, or lodging. So the way the ordinance is written today.
Written that specifically, then this use does not comply with that regulation.
Is there a poll right now on the site?
No, sir, there's not.
Oh, okay.
No, not a.
No, they just
I
had the
thought there was
smaller
a-
sign.
Oh, yeah.
There is also a requirement of distance as well for these signs, but apparently, based on their measurements, they would meet the 500-foot threshold from the exit ramps, but doesn't meet the use parameters in your code right now in terms of gas, food, and lodging.
Okay. All right, any further discussion on this request? Do we have a motion?
Motion to deny.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor of that motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, so the last item on our agenda is that we have the opportunity now to have a youth member represented on our board. And we have two applicants for that youth membership position. Two very qualified, very impressive applicants, it appears. So I guess tonight, is there, since this is the first time we've done this, I want to make sure we do it right. Do we then just need to have a discussion similar to we do on a sign and a vote as to which member we prefer? Is that the way
I think you
we're?
just need to select one, yeah.
We don't have to have a discussion?
Well, no, I mean.
Oh, you
Yeah.
want us to have a discussion?
Yeah,
Oh, I thought you
discussion
just
and then-
select one. So I thought you were wanting us to go, which one will be.
I suppose you could flip a coin if you wanted, but a discussion would
We
probably
could
be
go down the
better.
road and say who we want. and-
So it sounds like a discussion is in order first, and then we can proceed from there. I have to say, I've read both recommendation letters and applications, and both students are very impressive. I don't think we could go wrong with either one. And just start the conversation.
Well, if I am, Miss Haley, which they're both are very impressive, but she also had her first choice was the Art Council? Yes. So, and his, I don't know, I didn't see it, I just got this one, so his first choice, I don't see, or am I not?
I believe we are his only choice.
That's what I thought. Too, and because she has other, so she applied for others, am I correct?
Well, our first choice
Was the Art Council?
they're not accepting anybody right
They're not?
Well, the thing that stuck out with me on Alex here is, if you look at his interest and his hobbies is architecture, business, design. I mean, that's really what we touch on here.
That's,
So I kind of feel, based on his interest, that this might be a good fit for him.
I do too, because of the very thing, and I felt pretty good about that, because of the fact that she was wanting her first choice to be art.
And you know, she's a great candidate. She
She is a great
She
candidate.
talks about caring for people and doctor and all, so I don't know how much interest she'd really have with, design.
Really, well, some parts, if with the art, she, we do like the colors and this, all of that, but he is really, this will be a great thing for him to see if he really wants to go into that
If he wants
field.
to go into the field of architecture.
See how boring it really is?
Yeah, he's like, oh gosh, do I really want to? Yeah.
Yeah, I think he has a direct interest in some of the things that we do. And then he does have a recommendation letter here from his counselor, as well as, they both do. And both recommendation letters are
Great.
just very impressive. I mean, both counselors really know the students. This is not a canned letter. There are very specific things in here about them, so.
I'm impressed that both, I'm just glad that they both chose to do this. I do have a question though, because one of them is where they live where I do. Is that a problem? It is, shouldn't be.
Do you live in Farragut? So,
Well, but it actually lives where I do. I
No,
mean,
no, that's not an issue.
vision, that's not a problem,
No,
is it? Okay.
no, it's not.
I just wanted to disclose that, because I don't want to just say, oh, I'm picking this particular person for that
It even
reason.
says here that he's hoping to pursue a degree in architecture and
Yes.
design. So,
Exactly.
and the other little girl sounds very impressive. I'm impressed with her, but she's strictly medical profession,
Yep.
doctor, dentist, that kind of thing.
Once we make the selection for us, a question I have, when will they start on this board?
And I'm not sure of that because I've not dealt with this.
July?
Be
Oh,
July?
July.
And
So this'll
what
be our
term
second.
will it be? Will it be a one-year term? One-year term?
Okay, one
Okay.
other question.
So
They could be reappointed.
they could be reappointed. So Alex is an upcoming senior, it appears.
Mm-hmm.
And Haley, I think, is an upcoming junior.
Here, I believe.
I'm
That's what I
guessing.
saw. Or maybe she's a June, where did I see that?
You said she was 2 years.
Well,
in,
the
so
the
she's-
counseling, she's a sophomore now, or it may mean the counselor's only been there 2 years. Hard to
It
say.
doesn't actually say, does it? I thought that I saw something that said.
Yeah, Alex is class of 2019.
Okay, so he would have a full 1-year term from the time that he would start to the time that he would end before moving on to college.
And one other question, Mark. Her third choice was parks and the recreation part, which probably could possibly, are they accepting
I
people?
don't have anything to do with that.
You don't know if they're accepting people or not?
I just know the arts is not.
The arts or not? Okay,
Not go to them.
okay.
But there's still an opportunity for her to go to Parks and Rec, you think, possibly?
That would maybe help her, I mean, that would be more of, if she's wanting to go into, I don't know.
I'd love to see her be able to find a spot, because
Me too,
it's
that's why I'm
impressive.
concerned.
It's impressive, and
We've had 3 apply for the planning commission, so
Oh, have you?
somebody, a couple of them did it.
right.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm impressed that we have gotten that many, actually, aren't you? I'm very pleased.
Got one on this board. I think it's a good board.
I do too.
Well, I'm impressed they're giving up part of their summer vacation if they start in July.
Mhm.
It'll be one, that's gonna look good for them too, though. Yep, okay.
All right.
Well, I'm gonna nominate Alex. I'm gonna,
You're ready to make a motion?
if everybody else is.
So are we going to, how do we do this? Go by like,
Just each make a
make a motion,
make
make
a
a
vote,
vote,
and
make a
whoever has the
vote.
most wins.
Okay.
Yeah, someone can make a motion
Just
to
like we've
nominate
been-
one of them,
yeah.
and if it's seconded, then you can have a vote on it.
Do
and
it
if-
like we have all the other,
Okay.
okay. Well, let's,
So I nominate Alex.
all right. Is everyone finished with discussion? Let me ask that before we move on. All right, we have a nomination for Alex. Do we have a second for Alex Butler?
I'll second it.
We have a nomination and a second. All in favor of Alex Butler? Aye.
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 Any opposed to Alex Butler? Okay.
That was
Alex
easy.
Butler carries.
Okay. And hope that she can
All
find a
right,
place.
that's the last item on our agenda. Is there anything else that we need to discuss that's not on the agenda?
That's it for tonight.
And we'll close this month's meeting. Thank you, everyone.